Hey, welcome to a new episode of the Business Bosses podcast. Good that you're tuning in today, and we're gonna have an amazing session today because we're gonna talk about day trading. And so a lot of people have been asking me over the years, how the heck did you do that? How did you start? You can watch the other video here about how I went from 0 to 1 million in 3 months, no joke. And there I tell you the story of what happened and how did it go. But today I want to dive deeper into how I learned myself the skill of day trading. Because, it's not an easy skill. It is a fact that more than 80% of the people that do trading or day trading or any form of trading lose money. So I get it. It's like a way that, a lot of people like to earn money with, and they see the possibilities, but they don't know where to start. And today I want to bring light on that. And it all started for me in somewhere around 2013. That was the first time I heard about Bitcoin. I was still living with my parents, and they had a newspaper, and every morning they get the newspaper in their mailbox. And so what happened, on a certain day, I was working in a clothing store and I had my day off. And for some reason, I saw the newspaper on the table. And usually I looked at it, but it's like, okay, what's going on today in the world? And then okay, I'll discard it. But this time there was a headline, and it was something about, the new money, or this new way of money is going to change the whole world. And so I read about it, and there was a picture of a chart where you saw the price of a certain asset going poof, parabolic. And it was about Bitcoin. It was an article written in that newspaper about Bitcoin. And when I first heard about it, I thought, wow, this is something I don't know why, but I got intrigued by it and I wanted to learn more. I studied about it, and before I knew, I bought my first Bitcoin. And I remember I bought my first Bitcoin. It was not on an official exchange in the 2013. You had certain exchanges, but it took too long to get verified and get processed on these exchanges. It was all kind of new. It was the super wild west. And so I bought my first Bitcoin on a computer hardware store. And so the price of Bitcoin was going up. There were a few websites that tracked the price from certain exchanges. And so at that time, it's this price on this hardware website, or just a regular Shopify store, or I don't know what they use, but a regular store. And then every couple of hours, the price would just move $5 or €5 up. I bought it in euros. And so they had to manually update this price because they probably mined their Bitcoin by themselves because it was computer hardware store, right? So that was super fun and interesting. And then later, when I held my Bitcoin, and Bitcoin went from, I bought it at $80 and it went from 80 to 200 in, I think it's just a matter of 2 weeks. It was a very short time frame. And everybody at that time, called me crazy. It's oh, you put all your savings in Bitcoin, because I put all my savings in Bitcoin. Oh, you're so crazy for doing that, and you shouldn't do that. And people thought I was crazy, and well, why not, right? I mean, they're probably right at that time. But I knew there was something different to it. And then when the price went up to 200, and I thought, okay, this is a very good moment now. We're in a good position. And I tried to move my Bitcoin around from exchange to exchange, couldn't cash out and this and that. It was a pain in the butt. But then what happened? Price from Bitcoin dropped from 220 or 240 to 80 in just a couple of hours. And that was scary because everybody now all of a sudden was losing money, including me. And I remember I saw that and I wanted to trade, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I was on this exchange. It was super sketchy. It was called Bitcoin 24, something like that. And it was super sketchy. It was just made by one single guy, programmer. He made this exchange. But it was working. Everybody was trading and prices were going super fast up and down and volatile. And that was my first real taste of what trading was. And in that whole process, I lost a significant amount of money. In the end, overall, I was still in profit. But I saw that, other people were making loads of money. And they were just, pumping the price, dumping the price. And I couldn't understand, what did these people do different, or what did they know that I didn't know? They were just ahead of time, it seems like. And so I was looking for clues, and eventually I gave it up. I cashed out my profits, and I went on holiday for that time. So that was my first holiday with profits from my trading or my investment. And so I was happy about it, but obviously I could have earned more money. But that moment, that trading always stick with me, because I thought, okay, there's more to this. If our millions are traded every single minute, a day, whatever, every hour of the day, then I can tap into that. But I just need to know how. And I didn't know how, but I set myself on a mission that I wanted to learn. So I was studying people, I was studying markets, I was reading stories, I was watching videos from people that were traders before, and basically everything about trading I just consumed, and documentaries about trading, and I just like the whole aspect of trading and how it works. And I even watched documentaries about how people traded before the computer era, right? How it was on a market where people were shouting to each other in sign language. I don't know how that worked, but it was super interesting to me, and I studied that, and even watched the regular movies. I was consuming everything about trading. I wanted to know, how does it work? I had some trading accounts. I put some money into a certain trade, and I remember there was a day where there was not crypto, there was stock exchange, and there was a day where all the European stocks were up 2%. 3%. It was like super happy day, and for the stock traders, right? It was super happy day for stock traders. So I thought, okay, at whatever European time, I think 3:30 or 4:30, the U.S. stock exchange will open, and I was just in the assumption that, okay, probably the U.S. exchange will follow because European stocks are higher, Asian stocks were higher, so European stocks should follow, right? So I remember I put a buy order as soon as the exchange opened, and it went in a couple of minutes, like bam, 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 bam. I made $100 in just 5 minutes or something, and it went down again and up and down. It was super volatile, but I was right. I was like, right, because I saw, okay, whoa, I made this money and lock in those profits, right? And I was just gambling a bit. It was not really strategy, but that was the second time that I've had that taste of money just making in just a couple of minutes. And I knew it was not sustainable because those moments weren't very frequent in the stock markets or anything, any sort of kind. So I knew it was not sustainable, at least for that time, but I knew it was possible. I just knew. And I thought, okay, every time the stock exchange opens from Europe and then the US stock exchange open, then it will go up as well, right? And so I did it a couple of times, and obviously it did not happen. Because it was not a guarantee, right? But I sought to look for guarantees in the markets, in day trading. Like I tried Forex, I tried commodities. I remember that I shorted oil. I think I also bought oil. That was when oil went from 120 to, I don't know, $25 in a matter of months. And that was like super intense. But I tried everything. Commodities, Forex, gold. And ultimately I ended up with crypto. And so fast forward in 2017, this was the time when I was still living with my parents. I moved out, and then I came back, and then I moved out again and came back again. Basically because I couldn't, deal with myself. I could actually financially, but I have to be honest, I was just not motivated. I was lazy at the time. I didn't know what to do. I went to university twice. Both times I quit, and I didn't know what to do. All I knew that I wanted to be financial independent. I want to make my own schedule, my own rules. I want to decide my own pay grade, so to speak. And so in 2017, the year before that, I spent all my money. I went to Tony Robbins. I went on a trip to Central America, to Panama, and I set to go there. That was 2016. I wanted to go there with the goal that, okay, I'm gonna start a business somewhere in Panama. People are probably kissing my feet there because they love doing business with European guys, with Western guys. And I was so wrong, obviously. It was so not what I expected to be. I thought opportunities were everywhere, but it was hard truth that it wasn't like that. And I don't know how I get to that point. Where did I thought that if I would move to another country, then they would invite me with open arms and business would just be super easy. I don't know where did I got that from. It was so different. And I remember when I was in Panama, I set out to stay there for at least 6 months. And after 6 weeks, I was done. I had it, And I realized that I was running away from my own country and from reality that I had in the Netherlands. And I realized that it was not that bad, actually. My life was not that bad in the Netherlands. We had all these e-com thing and things happening online, and I just knew that I had to tap into that somehow. I was traveling to Panama with downloaded 100 podcasts. I remember there was this guy, his name was Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, and I downloaded all his podcasts and I just listened while I was running, while I was training for a marathon, and just learning about online business. And that was the first time that I came in contact with my favorite author of The Millionaire Fast Lane, MJ DeMarco. And so I read that book, I studied that book, and so I went back. I went back to the Netherlands, 2016. And my parents, they say, okay, you need to do something. It is time for you to move out of your house. You tried university twice, you quit it twice. You don't have anything to do. You're just being lazy, playing games, video games all day. It's time for you to do something. And that was a hard time. And they set an ultimatum. They said, okay, dear beloved son, it is 2016 now, September. Next year, you have 1 year at a time. 2017, you have 1 year at a time to move out. It was like 1st of October 2017. They said, okay, you gotta get out of the house then. If you don't go by yourself, then we'll kick you out. Basically, that's what I said. So the pressure was real. The pressure was super real. And at that time, I had a part-time job in the post office, and I was doing okay there, but it was just part-time, and I didn't have any costs except some monthly money that I had to give to my parents because I lived there. But that was enough for me to sustain myself. And so in that year, the end of 2016, I decided, because I was struggling, like I couldn't focus on my own business. I wanted to have my own business. There was just a side of trading. I wasn't even focused on trading. I wanted to have a business, a digital business. I'm going to make a content business. And I don't know how, but I'm going to sell digital products. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to start doing that every day. I'm going to the library. That's my workplace. I don't have to pay any rent there. I just sit there, bring my own drink, and I use the free Wi-Fi. And I'm just going to write the whole day, every day. Writing. And I remember that I made that vow, that commitment, that I am not gonna work for a boss anymore. So I had two things going on. I had this pressure from my parents that I had to leave the house, and I decided that I'm not gonna work for a boss anymore. I'm just gonna figure out a way. And I remember at the time that I was also, dumpster diving. And I said it in the other video that I was just going to stores and look in their trash bins, and then I would find equipment or returned products from customers that they could not sell anymore, but it was still usable, and I would just sell it on secondhand, like eBay, something like that, and that made me some profit. But I was just looking at all kinds of ways to flip money, to flip items, but it was not substantial, it was not sustainable. So I set everything aside and went 100% in this online business. I had a blog, and I was writing about health, about personal development, about how you overcome burnout, because some of my family members, they experienced burnout. So I thought, okay, I want to help those people, right? And I wrote an ebook, and I was 5 months just straight. I was just writing every day. I wrote this ebook, and it was actually super productive time. And also, like, I was not really proud of it, but I also took some like medication or like drugs, not like recreational drugs, but drugs to help me become better. And I was drinking a lot of coffee there at that time. I needed that for focus. And somehow I managed to do all this. Every day I post something, and I wrote an ebook. And then when this ebook was live, I thought, okay, now it's gonna happen, right? I'm gonna sell it for $20, $15, and people are just gonna buy it in bulk. I don't even know how you can do that with an ebook, but anyway, I thought my expectation was so high, and maybe I would run ads to boost it. So I did all that. I sent it to my newsletter. I think I didn't even have a newsletter. That's how stupid I was at that time. I didn't even have a newsletter. So yeah, I sent it out. I wrote several new posts about it, and I set a Facebook campaign on it. And then it tanked. Nobody bought it. And mind you, this was April, and I had to leave the house in about 5 months. April, like May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, and then September was like 5th month, right? So I was stressing out, and my money was getting empty. Like my bank account was slowly going down. Even though I didn't have any major expenses, I still had to pay my parents monthly money, and I had my phone bill to pay. And so there I was, like almost no money. Now what? Nothing is working. My blog is not working. I looked at Google Analytics. I maybe had 10, 20 visitors in a month, or I don't even know how many visitors I had, but it was not even significant. It was nowhere near getting where it should be. And that was a very, very hard moment. And I was active on a forum. It was a forum for internet, not just internet, but just for entrepreneurs around the world. And that's where I read through other people's posts and see what they were up to and what they were doing. And so I stumbled upon this thread about, the title was something that said, Web 3.0 is happening, and nobody even knows about it. And basically there was not a pitch, but it was a talk about Ethereum. Ethereum was coined there on that forum as Web 3.0. Again, like the same time in that Bitcoin article, I was intrigued by it. And I bought some Bitcoin during the bear market of 2015-16. I invested it, but I had to sell it because, I had money again. So I sold it, and Bitcoin was going up at that time, and Ethereum was, thriving, and Litecoin and all these other coins that, I knew about before, they were all going up in a big way. And I just realized, like, shoot, I've been sleeping. I've been sleeping, bro. What did I do? I missed it. And that was like realization, like, oh my goodness. I checked all these prices of these crypto tokens, cryptocurrencies, and I saw like, okay, this is what I need to do. But I had this fear, like, should I do that or no? Because I was afraid that I built all this momentum for my website, for my blog. I wrote this ebook. And I was afraid that if I would let that go, then I would miss out on a huge exponential growth, which is what usually happens when you have a business, right? It's like 9 months or 10, 12 months, it's nothing. And then the last month, that's when, like, explosive growth. So I was afraid that, that would happen. I would miss out on that. But then I made a calculation and I did some things and I'm like, okay, no, right? It doesn't make sense because I was operating in the health niche, which was a very saturated niche. It's always a saturated niche. But like what I was doing, there was nothing unique to what I was doing. I was just writing about burnout and writing about health. And I was even burned out about writing about burnout. Like I didn't have any new content to create anymore. And so I thought, okay, I just need to make the shift. I don't know how, but I need to make a shift into this crypto market. I don't know where. Maybe I was still thinking like, okay, I should write a book about Ethereum. That will probably sell really well. And I was making all these calculations about, how many books were sold on Amazon and this and that. And I could see like, okay, if I sell it, maybe it's going to make this amount of money. And mind you, at that time, my English wasn't that good. Now it's still terrible today. But I mean, I wasn't really confident to write a book in English. So I had to do everything in my own language, which was Dutch. So like Dutch market is like what? Like a 20th of the whole American market, so to speak. But that's a side note. Anyway, so I made this shift into crypto. I didn't know what I'm going to do, but I knew that I wanted to research it. And then I stumbled upon trading. Because I thought, okay, wait a second. If these prices are going up and down like crazy, then why not just trade it? So I studied the market for a couple of days. Okay, I can see that if I put in here a buy order or here a sell order, then I would have made a lot of profit. So I thought, okay. And I opened my trading account and I started to make ghost trades to see if it actually worked. And so I selected like, okay, if I sell now, buy now, then I'm going to make this much profit. And like I was making myself rich in my mind, right? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to be confident that I'm going to follow this way. I'm going to do trading. So I put I think it was my last $300, I put it in my trading account to hope, to get at least double the money. Because that would save me some time, that would give me some confidence. And so I started playing and I made some profitable trades and I lost some and I made another profitable trade. Like, it's going well. And then all of a sudden, boom, I get like a major loss in trade. I sold it where I should bought it or the other way around. And now I was down to 150. And this is like 4 months before I had to leave my house, my parents' house. Otherwise they would kick me on the street. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna cash out the 150. I'm gonna re-strategize. I'm gonna take a breath, and maybe I'll try it again. But like, okay, calm down, Marek, calm down. And then, okay, after a couple of days, I was like, okay, but I just trying again, right? Ghost trading. I was like, okay, if I put here the buy order and here the sell order and I would have made a lot of money. And I was like, okay, I'm missing out on these things. So, okay, just transfer another $300. And at that time, I got like money back from my previous job. So in the Netherlands, if you work, you work less than, or you earn like less than a certain amount, you get cash back from the government. Obviously, if you work a lot more, you need to pay more. But I get cash back. And I'm like, okay, hey, this is free money from the government, $300. Okay, that's cool. So put it into trading. Now I felt confident that I could trade again and at least could try. Same story. I went up a bit and then down, boom. And like, oh, and I was like, I don't know what to do. What to do next? I don't have any money anymore. Like, I'm down to whatever. I was even worried about how am I going to pay my parents. I couldn't face it to say to them, okay, Pop, Mom, I don't have any money. Because I knew they were strict. Like, you gotta get out of the house. So I was like, okay, shoot, now what? And oh my goodness, I was so terrified. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything, how to do it, how to recover it. But there was one thing. Somehow I figured out like a glitch. And this glitch was, I would put money in my trading account with my PayPal account. And then instantly I had the money in my trading account. But because, PayPal was connected to my bank account, it would only charge my bank account a couple of days later, let's say 5 days later, I think it was. So, I had this money in my trading account, and then 5 days later, it would charge my bank account that money. And so there was this time frame where I had both money in my trading account and still the money in my bank account. And I thought, that's interesting. What if I deposit money from my PayPal account into my trading account, I get it instantly, I trade, I make some profit with it, and then before the 5 days are over, I send the profit back. The deposit, I said deposit, I send it back, and then I send it to my bank account, and boom, done, right? Nobody knows. Like, I borrowed money from PayPal. And that was very risky because obviously it could only go one way. If it was going the wrong way, I would make a loss, and I would need to figure out somehow how to, get that money back. And in the Netherlands, we don't have credit cards. So we do have credit cards, but it's very difficult. You need to show your income statement, you need to show this, that, and I didn't have any income, so I couldn't apply for a credit card. That's just not that simple. So this was my only way. And so I studied the markets a couple of days, and I'm like, come on, I can't do this, If I just double my money, because I already doubled my money from 300 to 5 or 600, it just went south, like super bad. So I thought, okay, if I just do that, if I just double it with a bit of luck, I cash out the half of it, and then I can play with 2K. At least, I have this free cash flow available, right? And I can try it how many times I want until I succeed. So it was the day. It was somehow like it was there, the moment. I saw an opportunity and I took it. I just super fast, because I had to wait for the right moment, right? Otherwise, this time period would be shorter because the bank would charge me, or PayPal would charge my bank. So I had to wait for the right moment. And then when the moment was there, I just put it in there, in my bank account. Boom, 2K. And that was like a lot for me at the time. That was like most I ever had in my life. So I put it in there. And you know what happened? It went okay, but it went super bad. It's like 1,700. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'll get it back. 1,400, 1,100. Like I was down in a couple of hours to 800, and I was feeling stressed. If you're minus and you have the pressure from your parents that say you gotta get out of the house, and I was committed to not working for a boss, but at that point I was like, what do I need to do? How am I ever gonna get this money back? Like my biggest fear, working for a boss again, it was so vivid, like so visually in front of my eyes. I could see it like, no, I need to give up. Like, I cannot do this, I'm such a failure. I just need to work full time for a boss. And like, I don't know, like what's next step? I was lost. Okay, this is it. I done it. I tried it. I'm a complete failure. I don't know what to do. That was my thought. Okay, if I've been so far, I've tried everything. I've tried this website thing. I've tried trading. I failed. Like, let's just make fun of it. Let's just, this $800 that was left, let's just splendor it in trading. Like, let's just do whatever I feel is right. Like, I don't care about it anymore. That was like, I don't care about this money. I even lose it. It doesn't matter if it's 1,200 or 2,000. The amount is the same for me. And then, what happened then? That was like the moment that everything changed. It's like a complete mind shift. I just didn't care about the money anymore. And all of a sudden, I was putting in trades. Wow, 1,100, back to 1,100. Wow, back to 1,500, back to 1,800, 1,900. Wow, I'm now at 2,200. I'm even plus. Like, what's happening here? It's all of a sudden it's going great. And I'm going boom, boom, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000. Before I knew, in 2 days, I made 10 grand from that initial 2,000 in 2 days. And you know what I did, right? I put everything like 2,000, I transferred straight back to my bank account, and like, okay, PayPal will not find out. Unfortunately, they blocked my account. They did find out, but I was sitting on a pile of cash. Like in 2 days, I made 10 grand from that initial money that I deposited. And I was like, this is unreal. This was more than I ever had. It felt like I had won the lottery. That was so great. I was getting scared again. I was like, oh my goodness, now I have this 10K. I need to protect it. Cashed it out. I had like 2K left from the profits, not from the PayPal. And I started trading, and then I lost everything. I'm like, okay, at least I have 10K. I didn't even have a house yet. But I knew I was comfortable, like I would get something, or at least I don't know what, but I can stay with a friend. I pay him 500 a month. And actually, finding a house in the Netherlands, it has been hard, and it's still hard today, especially in the region where I live. It's always hard, and thank God I found something. And normally you have to give away, you have to share your details about, if you have income or not. I didn't have any income. I only had money from trading. And so thank God, like this realtor, this broker is like, okay, cool, just sign here, bomb. Like it was as a blessing, And I shared it in one of the other videos here about how you have to burn your bridges. And that's exactly what I did there. There was no other way to make it for me than either living on the street or, making it on my own with a business or trading or whatever it was. And so, that was like a super huge turnaround. And 10K is, mind you, it was nothing. So what I did after that, because I thought it was luck. And I told one of my cousins, he was very close with me at that time. And so I was like, okay, hey, I made this money. And I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell my parents, because I knew they would like planned in my mind that it was just luck. It was just, and I didn't want to believe that it was luck, even though I felt that it was luck. But I just kept it for myself and for my cousin. And he's like, what? How'd you do that? And so he was, studying, and he was intrigued by it as well. And for a month I just completely switched. I thought, okay, I'm gonna sell supplements to vegan people because I was becoming vegan. No, I actually was vegan at the time. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sell supplements for vegan people, for sports, and I was creating this whole other thing. But then after a month, I thought the market was over because I made the money in a huge crash, and I thought the market's over. But actually the market was recovering, the whole crypto market, because this was 2017 in summer, and I saw a huge opportunity. And I put my calculations to the market, and I saw, okay, maybe if I try it another time, then I can make between another 10K and 250K. It's like, my estimation was super wide, but I saw this opportunity and I thought I just need to take it, because if I'm not gonna take it, I might be stupid and I might regret it for the rest of my life. And I wanted to prove to myself that it was not luck. It was pure skill, or it was like a bit of luck, but also skill. And so instead of me putting all my 10K into it, I just put 250, right? I just didn't want it to be, too risky, so I didn't want to lose that 10K, right? I'm just gonna put in 250 euros into my trading account, and that's what I did. And I started trading. And what I did, so I put this 250 bucks, I put it in my trading account. The first day after that, I made almost 600 bucks. So this is my trading balance, right? From 250 to 600. There's like a 137% increase. The next day, it was 862. It was second day. So like still 45% increase, but it was like minor to me, right? Then the third day, I made almost 4,000. It was 3.9K. I had a 350% increase. Then the fourth day, 4.4. Then the fifth day, 8,600. And from there on, it's like next day, sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth day, 15,000. Seventh day, 34,000. So in a week, I made 34,000 in trading. And this was like Bitcoin dropping to 3,600. There was a Ripple crash. And I don't know if you guys remember Ripple, like going up and down, and like huge money. And then like in 2 weeks I was at 50K, and then I lost some, and I was like, oh my goodness. That I remember that, when I lost 7K in one day here, and I lost another 6K, another 5K, that was like in a week, and it was super scary because I thought, okay, maybe it's not luck. But then I went from 38K to 100K in just one day. So I made a 62,000 profit in one day with trading. And that was like Bitcoin was at 5,000, and it was going to, I put in a short, and it was going down to 3,000, and that was super crazy. Like at that moment when I was passing that 100,000, then I had the realization like, okay, now it's not luck anymore. Now it's just pure skill. And that's how I did it. Like if people ask me that story, like this is what I always tell them. It's like, I thought it was luck. I was so afraid that, I was just lucky. But I figured out a way to do it. I figured out a way to make it work. And that's how I did it. I just learned by doing. And I learned also a lot from, recognizing patterns, recognizing, it's like support resistance. But more than that, I usually don't work. In trading, there are a gazillion ways of seeing like models where you can predict the price. The truth is nobody can ever predict the price. And I like to keep it simple, because the more models or the more tools I'm going to use, the more complicated it's going to be. I like to keep it simple. And for me, that's always with support, resistance, and just following what's the trend. Like, are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? That's what I like to do. And there's a great book. It's called The Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. I put it down in the link in the description. And it's a great book because this guy, he was trading in the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, and during the Great Recession as well. And he talks about the basics of trading, and what he thought about in that time is still relevant today. That's why this book is so amazing to me. And I've read that book, I think, like 3 or 4 times. And I think that's like the essential of trading. Is that you find something that's simple, something that's worked for you, and you just replicate it. And, with this trading strategy that I used, it's not a specific trading strategy that is like super high tech or super difficult to master. The most difficult thing for me to master was my own emotions, was my own, scarcity or holding tight of my money. When I crossed that 100K, in 2 weeks, I went from 100K to 500K. That's because, I knew what was possible now, and I knew there were no limitations anymore. And so basically, the sky was the limit. That was the limit. And I think that's, to summarize it all, master your emotions first. That's the most important thing. Strategy will come after you master your emotions. So hey, this is my story of how I day traded, how I learned myself the skill of day trading. And next question that people still ask me is, okay, you still do that today? Are you still day trading? Well, I have another video and I'll put it right here. There you can see what I do now today. And if you like it, then please go there. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. And remember to turn on the notification bell and also give a like to this video. Let me know what you think. Where are you at in your trading career? Are you a profitable trader? Are you not profitable? If you are a professional day trader, then how did you learn yourself the skill? Please share it in the comments and I'll definitely read it and respond to it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.